everyone. This is not the kind of video that anybody in their right mind ever wants to have to make. And unfortunately, we find ourselves in the situation where the Mars Industries Airwolf has officially said it can't move forward after all the delays and all of the situations going on in the background, some of which I will try to address. I don't know much, but I'll try to address what I do know. It has, according to the Kickstarter's words, gone insolvent. I mean, this sucks for a number of reasons. It's another black eye for independent maker toys. It's another black eye for artisan projects. There is not a lot that I can say about this person's business. I don't have a financial stake in any of these projects. I'm just a guy in the toy aisle talking about them. And I want to remind everybody that while, yes, there have been some high-profile belly-ups in the artisan toy maker space, and in some cases, as with one notorious example, just a flat outright scam, the majority of these independent makers, however you feel about them or not, they have all delivered on their products. I've talked about a lot of them on this channel in the past, and I've talked about a number of them consistently, like, Stan Solo and Next 17, and one of the biggest success stories of them all was Valaverse. So we're not in a landscape where all of this is despair. However, we are in a unique situation as a toy community where there seems to be a massive double standard that goes on where artisan makers are concerned versus major toy companies. The short version is that the toy community has a very loud, vocal group of people who believe that if you talk about an independent toy maker, you too are now responsible for anything that goes wrong with that maker. I'm not saying that it's a large group of people, but I'm saying it's a very loud, voracious group of people. They are in our community, and they try to pin the blame for another person's business failures on a YouTube channel that happens to talk about it. I'm of the belief that YouTube channels, for better or worse, should be allowed to discuss whatever they want. Toy, movie, sports team, whatever. And many of them in our space do. They talk about HasLab Sentinels before they come out a year in advance. And then the Sentinels come out with no working knee joints, and nobody blames those YouTube channels for being in bed with Hasbro on a level where they blame them for the Sentinel not having working knee joints. The equivalent of this, from where I'm standing, because there is a vocal, voracious group of people who is trying to blame RetroBlasting for this Mars Industries company's failure. They have blamed me for them making a purchase as a grown adult. I don't really know how they get there with the logic, but it would be the equivalent of a YouTube channel talking about the Tesla Cybertruck, and you decide to buy one, and then you get the Cybertruck and you see what a lemon it's been, and instead of blaming Tesla, you decide to blame a YouTube channel that did a video that you watched. And I know that there's a small group of people that feel like they have the correct rationale for that, but there is no good rationale for that. Here's my receipt for the Airwolf package. My video that came out several years ago wasn't even in time for the Kickstarter. my video came out with maybe like hours left, if not hours after the Kickstarter had ended. I can't even remember at this point, but there was no Kickstarter left to really talk about when my video came out. But I was impressed with what the person was proposing and what it looked like they were offering. And I put my money down on the barrelhead for my purchase of this thing. And I paid for a big package. I paid for like the third highest tier with the finished Airwolf and the finished crew figures. I did not go in for the additional Santini helicopter or anything like that. I just did the purchase package that had the finished Airwolf and the finished action figure crew. But that was over $600. There's my receipt. Once again. So for people to come at me and say that somehow I did them harm and that somehow I'm getting something out of this and getting away scot-free with this and that I owe them something. They've said that my channel can't be trusted anymore. If I had been somebody that was just promoting something, which I was not in any paid promotion with this company at all. I was just talking about a thing that I found out about. If I was truly just promoting something and not even buying into it and taking any risk, then I can kind of understand why you would be angry. Not completely, because I do feel like as long as you're not directly affiliated with that company in a promotional deal, you can talk about or should be able to talk about whatever you want on YouTube. And as long as you have no business ties to that company in any way, there's no logical reason to blame that person if that company makes some bad decisions. But in my particular case, I do find some of the accusations leveled at this channel. Once again, it's like Groundhog Day. Things go wrong over here, and you guys decide, not all of you, but these people, they come at me. It gets old, especially when I've got $600+ on the line on this one. I'm not getting away with anything. I want my money back. Okay? I don't know how to make it any clearer that this isn't something that I just toss over my shoulder and I'm like, oh, too bad, so sad. But that's how everybody seems to act who is of the opinion that my channel is to blame for this situation. It's immature. It doesn't reflect well on the toy community to be that kind of adult. And for those of you that have that opinion, you need to grow up. I'm out $600+ because guess what? I put my risk out there. I take the same risks on things that I talk about that other people are talking about in the space. Like, in other words, if I am engaged enough by something or interested enough in something to make a video about it, it means that I've bought it. That reflects things that I'm talking about with some anticipation or positivity. I also talk about things, as you know, that I'm skeptical of, like the Hasbro HasLabs and things like that, when I feel like doing that. I don't do all of them. And as a matter of fact, when it became clear that people were getting upset by the delays on this project, I tried to get the owner of the company to do a live stream, which he did, so that you guys could get your questions answered. Now, some of you believed that that wasn't effective enough and you didn't get the answers you wanted. Look, all I can do is provide you some kind of access by attempting to make those connections. But once again, I'm not financially or legally tied to that company outside of being somebody else that also has money now at stake on this one. But the frustration here is that the day that I had to get that live stream together was the day that I made a fundamental shift in the way RetroBlasting talks about artisan toys. I didn't think it was fair, but I didn't broadcast it either. I just simply made a change from that day forward. And what I said from then going on, from that moment going on into the present and will continue into the future, is that I was never going to discuss artisan toys again that weren't already in inventory for people to buy right then. I have a very good friend who is working on an action figure line that is now already out. And he had really been hoping several years ago that I would help promote that. And I said, well, I can't go into a promotional partnership with you. I said, but it sounds like what you're doing is, pretty exciting. Let me know when you get closer. Sounds like something I'd be interested in. Then I had to tell him last year that I wouldn't be able to talk about his project in advance, even though I was interested in it, because of the situation that had happened with Mars Industries. And that was before yesterday's, or 2 days ago, Friday's announcement that the Kickstarter was over. The fact that there was already trouble brewing because all these people were mad and they were grabbing their torches and pitchforks, and I'd had to do that live stream with the owner of the company for you guys, and that still wasn't satisfactory according to you guys. I was like, I'm going to have to make a shift in the way I do things, because there is a double standard between talking about toys over here a year in advance and talking about toys in this artisan space a year in advance. Apparently, you're not allowed to do that, according to a lot of people. And if you do, you will consistently be accused of being in bed with that company. It's insane, but that's been my experience. But since that live stream, I have not promoted. I say promoted. I've never had a paid promotion deal with any company, so I apologize. That's not what I mean. I have not boosted the signal or discussed artisan toys in advance of them being in inventory and ready to buy. And of course, I've not discussed artisan toys that I haven't bought myself. So there you have it. The real frustration about all this for me, not only the fact that I would really like a refund, because you can't just absorb a loss of over $600. That's not a fun deal. The other kick in the teeth here for me in this whole thing is that the regular drumbeat of people who have tried to tie me in some way to this failing, and in the past they were tying me to their frustrations. In other words, blaming me for them being angry about the delays, and now they're blaming me for this ultimate result. Again, it's all just emotional redirects to an easy target. It's not adult behavior. It's not rational, logical behavior. But what blows me away is that I wasn't the channel that promoted this Kickstarter. Like I said, my video came out like right after the Kickstarter ended. My purchase was a pre-order, a post-Kickstarter pre-order that was offered up on the Mars Industry website. And when I tried to explain this to somebody a few months ago on Twitter, that no, there was another YouTube channel that promoted and discussed this Kickstarter, they didn't believe me. They actually said, with a gif from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles of John Candy going, "Oh, sure, sure." They flat out didn't believe me. And the reason that they didn't believe me was because most of the toy community's memory is so short, and or they have the desperate need for bias reinforcement. So in other words, if you bring out facts that could break their narrative, they'll disregard those and they'll just keep rolling. And in this case, this guy wanted to be mad at me over a completely different entity's decisions and delays and troubles. So the YouTuber in question, I will refer to him as Canadian Warrior Poet, did an entire video talking about all of the details of this Airwolf Kickstarter when it was only, I think, in its earliest days. I don't remember exactly when, and it's kind of tough to figure out when, because the reason this guy on Twitter says that I'm lying about that, and the reason that nobody else wants to acknowledge it, is because Canadian Warrior Poet, he pulled that video down the moment there started being any trouble going on, like any dissatisfaction, like a year plus ago. He pulled that video down. Because that's what Canadian Warrior Poet does. He cuts and runs. After that guy made that claim that I was lying about the existence of a previous YouTuber who had done the lion's share of the promotion of the Kickstarter, I decided that I was going to go ask the owner of Mars Industries if Canadian Warrior Poet had ever backed the Kickstarter or any Airwolf at all. And I told him at the time, I was like, look, I know this, this might be proprietary or whatever, but I kind of need to know because people are claiming that this Canadian Warrior Poet had nothing to do with any of this. And I said, I have his video that he deleted. I downloaded it before he deleted it because I just knew that that was going to be the case. I've been in this game long enough that I can predict what I need to do at any given time to cover my own, claims. And the owner got back to me, the Mars Industries guy at the time, and he said, no, he said, Canadian Warrior Poet was never a purchaser or a customer. I gotta ask these, rabid, angry people that think RetroBlasting is somehow responsible for this. Who would you be more mad at? The guy that made the video very late in the game after the Kickstarter was over and also put down over $600 of his own money authentically because he was making a video because he was genuinely interested in this thing? And so I took the risk like you did? Or the guy who made the video who had just as many subscribers to get the word out there. He had enough subscribers to have the impact that was necessary to get the word out there about that Kickstarter at that crucial time. And then not only didn't actually buy into it, but then took his video down and hid the moment that anybody got grumpy about it. Like in the early stages of people getting grumpy, just the impatient people. The moment there's trouble, Warrior Poet shows his true courage and runs. I'd love to know why suddenly I'm more culpable than that individual. And maybe it's because your memories are terrible. I mean, that's often the case. But I would like to know, and for the record, as annoying as Warrior Poet's behavior can be, I don't think that even he should be blamed for what's happened with Mars Industries. I don't think he should be blamed for that. I think his behavior is laughable. I think it's mock-worthy. But I don't think he is culpable in what's happened with this company. But if that's the standard you guys are going to set, that YouTube channels should be blamed for the transgressions or failings of a separate business that is not tied to them at all, why am I the only one in the firing line on this? Because there's somebody else out there who, based on your twisted logic, is far more culpable. And they're walking away scot-free because your memory sucks. But hey, here's a clip from the video, since can't really copyright claim a video that isn't on YouTube anymore. So enjoy this clip from it since you guys don't believe me.
So this Kickstarter has a little less than a month to go. And, well, that's Canadian funds right there because I'm in Canada, eh? So it's got a little ways to go. But this is very true. It is about time. It's been so long since there's been anything Airwolf other than those little really expensive replica Airwolf choppers. So if you're an Airwolf fan, what do you think of finally a 1/18th scale G.I. Joe sized Airwolf helicopter with all of these cool little features and details, playability, things to futz with? Let me know in the comment section, and feel free to share it with any Airwolf fans that you know.
I'm personally tired of, one, being blamed for business decisions and businesses that I don't own. The level of harassment that some of you guys have gone to with this, it really makes me, think about the line from Wyatt Earp in Tombstone where he says, "I've already got a guilty conscience, might as well have the money too." Well, to paraphrase that, in this case, it would be, well, you've already decided that I'm a monster that's to blame for this. I might as well have some of the money from that. I wish I did at this point, because you guys, apparently the moment I talk about an artisan project, you guys are like, well, keep that in mind because RetroBlasting is now 100% responsible for it. Well, if that's the case, I wish I had some of the financial windfall from it. I don't. I mean, I'm not out to steal from anybody, but, if you're going to hold the mirror up to me and tell me that I'm the monster that I've beheld, can I at least get a little of the benefit? My God, if you claim that I'm stealing from you, can I at least see some of that cash? And I know that's very sarcastic of me to say, but just put it in that perspective for a minute. Yeah, I'm the monster. Oh, yeah. That's $611+ in the red. Yeah, some monster I am, right? Anyway, this is all very unfortunate, and I wish both for myself and all other collectors that things had turned out very differently. It did not. I'm crossing my fingers and hoping that this situation with Mars Industries will not be similar to other artisan projects that have gone under. I'd like to think, given what I could glean from the guy when he was on our live stream, that there is, some honor and some sense of responsibility, and that all the customers will be made whole. I know for a fact that if you have a Kickstarter and it goes under, there are some obligations there. I don't know what those are. I've never done a Kickstarter, but I'm hoping that there will be some compensation for the people who invested in all this and tried to make this dream of this guy's a reality. And if even 20% of what was claimed happened to the business during this time when he was trying to get this off the ground, then, shame on those bad actors. While they're not responsible for taking money from people, they are responsible for making life more difficult for an artisan toy maker. And I know for a fact that that is the case regularly in this community. There are YouTubers right now in the toy community who are starting Kickstarters of their own or have attempted it, and they have tried to physically find another revenue stream to take money from their audiences directly, in addition to making their videos. I am not one of those people. I don't even run mid-roll ads on my videos. I won't even do that because I believe in my videos and I want the viewer to have the best experience. So between me buying and taking on the risk of things that I talk about on this channel, between me not even running mid-roll ads and no paid promotions and no sponsorship deals on this channel, and the fact that I'm not trying to do a Kickstarter for some YouTube toy channel inspired toy line or comic book or something that a lot of these people are trying to do to find a new avenue to hawk their wares to their audience. I'm not doing any of those things. Between all of those things, I don't think I could be playing this game with any more integrity than I already am. And if that small slice of you out there, even after being reminded of all that, if you still want to blame me for this Airwolf going under, then quite frankly, you need to go back to school because your IQ needs a boost.